Howdy folks, today we're going to be taking a look at self-hosted AI agents using LocalAI, LocalAGI, and LocalRecall. Now I made a video previously about the initial setup for some of these, and so today we are going to be talking about actually using them and connecting them to interesting things on the network. So, first of all, this is actually a little bit easier to understand if you first understand how an AI bot would work, without LocalAGI and without LocalRecall. So what is our base language model? If we have LocalAI here, you should be familiar with I don't have the actual chat interface up here, but you've probably seen the ChatGPT interface if you are watching this video. So you'll be somewhat familiar with how that works. And basically, you send it a query, it sends you back text. It's text in and it's text out. And when I originally started this project, the goal was basically to have a chatbot in this Matrix room here. Matrix is a chat service. If you're not familiar, it's similar to Slack or Telegram, something like that. It's end-to-end encrypted, etc. The goal of this project was to have an AI-powered chatbot in this Matrix chat. And I originally achieved this with a project called Bybot. This is made by etke.cc. I don't really know if they pronounce that a certain way. And this was a really good bot. It uses the LocalAI API to generate responses to messages that come in the Matrix room. Actually, if I scroll back in the history here, we'll need to find where I was using that particular bot. Here we can see it. In this one, it's imitating Donald Trump here, but thanks to Kritomas's prompt. But here we can see Bybot is replying in a thread. Now, this is just using the LocalAI API, and what that means is that it is just using that large language model, in this case Llama 3 8B instruct, and just getting the model output for this exact prompt. Okay, so that is what Bybot does, and that is what LocalAI will do. Just give you the text completion for whatever you send it. So an agentic model is going to be a little bit more complicated. We're basically going to define a workflow that not necessarily the model, but it'll be a programmatic workflow that will continuously call the model several times and ask it, what should I do next? What should I do next? What should I do next? And it has a variety of options. Let's take a look at the agent that I have created here as our example. We look at our settings. We just have some basic information, and this is kind of the most interesting thing about this. I have found this is kind of like an initial prompt that tells it somewhat how to behave, and I don't quite know how this is used yet. I tried giving it some information here, but I haven't seen this be used directly. So to be honest, not quite sure how this identity guidance is actually implemented. But if we can go a little further, we can see that I am telling this agent, well, first of all, it's no, I think we're good to go. This agent, I've created one agent here. I'm just calling it LocalAI. That's just kind of a generic name for the one agent that I'm running. And the underlying model is still Llama 3 8B instruct. And I have given it my LocalAI URL, which does need the V1 at the end. And I've given it my LocalRecall URL. We'll come back to that part later. I also have API keys that are necessary, but we're not going to bother with that. What's interesting about it is once we get down to things like this, the filters and triggers, the connectors, and the actions, here is where we can tell the agent different things that it can do. So for example, we might want it to search Wikipedia. So in this case, instead of us having a one-to-one, you send the model a chat completion and it sends you the completion of that. In this case, you'll have a little workflow that happens in the background where first you'll ask the model, what are the search terms from this query? And then the model will output a search term. And then you're going to, like with Python, or in this case, Go actually, you're going to go off on the internet, you're going to pull up the Wikipedia page for that search term, and you're going to embed it into the next prompt. you'll call the language model again, and you'll say, summarize this Wikipedia article. And so the end user will see, I have asked it a question, and it has given me very good information about what I have asked, when what's actually happening is this workflow in the background where first you ask it to extract the search terms, then it puts those search terms into Wikipedia, it pulls the article for whatever you're searching about, and then summarizes the article and does all that magic in between. I'm not going to keep this one here because we have something working at the moment. There are other things with this. So MCP servers, this is pretty interesting because it allows third-party services to be used directly by a model. So it is a common protocol by which the model can access. So, it's an interface or a protocol, however you want to describe it. The model has a single interface that it can use, and then all of the services such as Gitt or Discourse or whatever you're using on this side can plug their API into it this way so that the model is able to use all of these different services in a lot of different ways. You can use this to monitor threads on a Discourse server. You can use this to monitor Git repositories. And you can do more than monitor. You can actually take actions on them too. So like using MCP servers or even that actions thing, it's a little bit hard to know exactly what the difference is. The difference is that actions are a script that are being run by the agent, whereas the MCP server is like an API, and it's just like a middleware layer that sits between the model and the API so that the model knows how to interact with the API. So we can add all kinds of different connections to different services we have with this. Filters and triggers. Now, to be honest, I've kind of just started playing around with this stuff, so it's fairly new to me. I have not used the filters and triggers, but we can kind of use our imagination to figure out what a filter is and what a trigger might be. So anyway, what's a little bit more involved is this memory stuff, having a knowledge base. That's where LocalRecall comes in. Now, I can't actually pull up the LocalRecall interface. It just says I'm unauthorized. I do have API tokens enabled for all three of these services. And as far as I've seen, when you enable the API tokens for LocalRecall, the user interface goes away, which is fine. We can just use the API to interact with it. I have the docs for that here. So LocalRecall works for, it's part of Retrieval Augmented Generation. Actually, Retrieval Augmented Generation is kind of happening throughout different parts of this. So if you have an action, and that action is to search Wikipedia, and then the Wikipedia article is put into the prompt of the next chat completion, which is then sent to the user, that is technically Retrieval Augmented Generation. You have retrieved a Wikipedia article, and you have injected that into the prompt of the next query. As opposed to, say, an action where this GitHub issue closer, where the model is going to recognize that the user is saying something that would indicate the issue should be closed, and then it's going to use this Go script to close that specific issue. Or using the MCP server, it can do the same thing. In those, you are not actually getting information and putting it into the next prompt. So those are agentic actions, but they are not Retrieval Augmented Generation. It is RAG if you are, getting a Wikipedia article. It is not RAG if you are not injecting that article into the next prompt. But LocalRecall is used for much more extensive RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's a little bit hard to understand exactly. So LocalRecall is kind of an API and also kind of a database. It's not actually clear to me exactly what LocalRecall is supposed to be. It seems like it's a few things that just kind of need to be done separately, and so they're put together. I don't know exactly. But anyway, when you're using LocalRecall, you're going... Let's just start with the terms. You're going to start with something called a collection. Where's our... let's look at the endpoints. This is not what I thought it was. Oh well. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So a collection is kind of the base unit of measurement for this. Kind of, it's not the best description, but a collection is basically a group of external sources that are going to be put into a vector database. Basically, what LocalRecall is trying to do is take some knowledge base, be it text files or web pages. Hey, and how are you? Text files, web pages, whatever your knowledge base is. In my case, it's my discourse forum. It's going to take that and first, it's going to extract all of the text and have a plain text version of that web page. And then it is going to put all of that through the LocalAI embeddings endpoint. And it's going to vectorize that text. That vectorized text gets entered into a vector database. And then later on, when you are querying the model, when the agent is being used, it is going to take your query, it will vectorize that, and using some magic that I don't understand, it is going to query the vector database using the vector of your prompt, and this will somehow bring like text to the surface as a result. And so using this, when I ask it questions, given that I have already given it my the links to my discourse forum, it should be able to tell me specific things about what I am doing on my forum. In theory. This has been a little bit interesting to play with. I'll show it to you in a minute, and you'll see that it has... it works. It definitely works, but I'm not sure exactly what I would need to do to make it better. Maybe I need to add a lot more threads on my forum and then add them to this. Or maybe I need to do less and say, this one agent is for answering questions about this one thread. Not exactly sure what the best thing to do. I have heard that the more you give it, the better it does, but whether that maps onto specifically what I'm trying to do here, I don't know. But it does more than just search the things that I give it. It will also search the previous chat history. So in this vector database, from what I've seen, it's also vectorizing a summary of, the long-term conversation that you're having with this chatbot, and it's also saving it. I guess I don't know what the difference between these two is. Maybe this one is that it saves it verbatim, and this one is that it is saving it in the vector database to be queried when it's doing this RAG stuff. But yeah, we get the point, I think. It's that the agent is going to be able to do a lot more than just respond to text queries. It will actually be able to look things up and have knowledge specifically of the things that I am doing here, even though this model was not trained on anything that I have written. Something that I forgot to mention, though, was the connector. The connector is what is actually taking the place of BuyBot here. This is what is going into my matrix room. I have just showed my access token on stream. That's not good. Let's see, how many people are here? I'll just change that. Revoke it later. Should have known. Anyway, so yeah, this is what actually logs into Matrix and... Oh, did he do that too? Well, there you go. It's out there now. At least it's just you, and I don't have any other viewers at the moment, do I? Let's see. Yeah, it's just you, and so we're okay. Should have known that would do that, but anyway. Where was I going with that? Maybe lose my train of thought. Well, I did. Yeah, this is basically taking the place of the matrix bot. This is what's actually logging into the matrix room and replying to messages. So we don't need a separate bot for that. So the agent has a lot of components to it. There are like the things that connect to these external sources, be they Matrix or Discord or Slack or whatever it is. You then have like the different actions it can take, external services that it can connect to and interact with. It has all this memory stuff that you can use. It's pretty intense. If we go to agent list and chat here, actually, we don't even need to chat. We can look at status. Here are some of the previous jobs that people have queried with this. If you weren't lazy, you'd be Yes. Oh, okay. So you didn't even see it. And I don't know. Can you rewind Owncast videos? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I may have gotten away with that one, but the dangers of streaming. I know what I'm signing up for. Anyway, here we can see specific jobs that were sent to this agent. You know, again, just to reiterate the point, if this were just a normal chat bot, you get, well, actually, yeah, this is the beginning of this conversation. Someone said, I need help falling asleep. Can you read me a story? The Color of Magic as a goodnight story. And recall, what was the recall? What we would usually see in a typical like chat GPT, oh, you can. Please don't do it. What you would usually see in a typical chat GPT conversation is that it would just respond directly to this query. But what's actually happening is that first we have this recall. And what it's saying is that, it has gone into my discourse forum and, you know, it's talking about this cob hut foraging for food. It's actually pulled out my thread on vintage story. Yep. This is my vintage story thread from discourse.eom.dev. So yeah, that's where my question is, you know, that is not actually relevant to what this person said. And then here is some stuff about Git and GitHub, ActivityPub, which are all things that I've spoken about on my forum, but are just not relevant to the query here. It does seem that the end result of this actually kind of worked. I don't see anything about vintage story in this or anything like that. So that's interesting. But you can see how it's kind of working when it gets broken down like this. Yeah, so each time it will do a recall step where it tries to search this knowledge base to more or less success. And it will use that to inform the prompt. We can even see, let's look at the full. Yeah, so here we can see the conversation. Given the user input, you have the following in memory. Here's the context that comes from our discourse forum at this top line. Then here is the system prompt that I have set with the agent. And then actually there are a few conversations that it's adding into this. But yeah, we see a few things there, like the long-term memory. I actually don't see the summarized. Okay, well, here's another. Anyway, I don't see the summarized conversation or anything like that. Your video cache is expired. I got lucky, and I'll just, you know, blur it out of the recording. So that token is going to stay. And I actually went through all of the things that I wanted to show beforehand, and checked to make sure there was nothing sensitive. I just missed that one entirely. So, oh well. It's fine. But yeah, we can see how the agent is basically working here. And then over in the matrix room, let's go ahead and say something to it. And just show that on stream. And do you have anything you would like for me to say? I need to do at LocalAI. I think you're also on Matrix, so you are welcome to come into the channel here and say things to it yourself if you would like to do that. What should we say? Tell me about the dangers of exposing sensitive data while screen sharing. Now, this will actually take a second to respond. I'm going to hit enter, and then let's go right back to the agent tab. There you are, eom. We can see the job appears right away. It's right here. The part that's probably going to take a second is actually loading the large language model. So I have to load this language model in from memory, and the backend and model are killed on my GPU after 1 minute of inactivity. And that's not the default. By default, it'll just actually stay loaded, and so the API will respond much quicker. It's just that, as you might notice in a moment here, the fans on that computer are going to get loud. So when the models are running here in my apartment, they can get kind of loud. So I have set it up so that it will kill the process after a minute of inactivity. But in the time it took for me to say that, we can see that it has responded. Yeah, so see, actually we can see it knows that it is a representative of eom.dev, my platform. So it's probably got that from the system prompt. And asked, tell me who won the war on drugs in a limerick, and then a haiku. The drugs still flow free, so they do. Yep, that's how it went. Solid Heron, welcome aboard. Uh-oh, Solid Heron's going for one now. But if you ask it stuff about eom.dev, if you feel like it, then it should be able to answer questions about, the forum and stuff like that. Uh-oh. It doesn't respond to just its name. You need to actually at LocalAI. Y'all are awful. Give it a second. Yeah, and I don't know how well it does when multiple people are querying it at once. Oh boy. Y'all are not taking us in the direction I was expecting. Well, I mean, you kind of are. Solid Heron, what are you doing? Like... And yeah, actually, we could theoretically program an AI girlfriend with this. This is likely how, like, the ones you see on different social media apps are made, where the agent's connector is going to be the social media app, so like Tinder or something like that. And then when you send it a message, there's an AI workflow in the background that, will find some knowledge base, or probably isn't searching Wikipedia. Oh, there we go. There we go. Finally, you got it. Solid Heron. Yeah, if you can't reach her, you're never going to get there. So. Let's see what it does. Yeah, there is a feature where you can tell it to stop itself. So maybe that is what happened, but it looks like it's just taken a longer time because sent it multiple queries. Also, like I said, it needs to, we left it alone for 60 seconds, so it killed the process and has to reload the model. So it might take a second. All right, there you got one. The secret underground bunker, hidden beneath the Council of AI Elders known as the Synapse Council, governing the flow of information, ensuring that the secrets of the universe are preserved and shared with those who seek to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos. That's right. That's right. Stoic Murdoch, hello. So now that you've all spammed it, it's... I am using the model Llama 3 8B Instruct, which is made by Meta, and so it's probably quite censored. I wouldn't expect it to say anything particularly exciting. Yeah, I'm not sure how it works. It might also be that they time out. As it said, yeah, it said something else. It's the AI assistant for. Uh-oh. It's not. It does not want to be your AI girlfriend, Solid Heron. I'm sorry. Yeah, so it just wants to be friends. Lol. F in chat, folks. So it's not necessarily aware of who it is speaking to in this room. It thinks that we are all one person, as far as I know. And it, yeah, so it's aware of the other messages in the chat room. It just doesn't respond to them. And I can also, there's a setting, while those are cooking. Go to the agent and go to settings. Advanced settings, is it? There are things you can do like initiate conversations, allow the agent to start a conversation on its own. So, it's not going to respond to a message in the room. It's just going to randomly say something, which sounds great. Planning, it can create and execute plans. It can stop itself. We definitely don't want it to stop itself. Periodic runs. So there's a bunch of things that we could do. Reasoning as well. I've only just started to play around with this. And let's see, what's it say in here? List of popular social media websites. It's pretty funny that I friend zoned you, though. Yeah. The grammar really needs eom.dev's API keys. Now, now that's another thing, is that the model that I am using, Llama 3 8B Instruct, is a text-only model. It's just plain text. Text in, text out. But there are other models like Quen that are multimodal, where it would be able to understand images and read text within images. I think videos too. There's audio. So there's a lot of interesting stuff we can do here. You don't think Ollama has an API? No, Ollama does not. And that's why I went for LocalAI and LocalAGI, et cetera, for this whole thing. Yeah, it is pretty funny. There are also uncensored models that we can use, so we're just getting started here. Yeah, I want to ask it something and see. I mean, there's kind of too many things in the stack at the moment, but I would like to ask it something. Oh yeah, look at this. By the way, I just accessed some interesting info on Discourse, our favorite platform. Did you know Discourse is an open source platform that allows for seamless integration with other platforms? It's like a digital superhighway connecting people and ideas from. I don't know about that, but I mean, it's cool. But it is interesting that it picked out Discourse. That's the information that I gave it and would have. We can see in the status. This one? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, Discourse. What does it say in the recall? Snog. Oh, song. I have no idea what this is. It came from Discourse. Well, they all came from Discourse. Yeah, we can see that it is in fact finding things in Discourse. But, you know, that's where my question is. Do I need more stuff from Discourse for it to search through, or do I need less stuff for it to search through? I think more is probably what I need, but I can only do that once I write more, which, you know, there's a bottleneck there, and it's me. So, let's see. Are you guys still spamming it? Yep. So like I said, it has cranked up the fans on my server, and if that becomes a problem, I will have to turn this off for the public channel. So, you know, have some fun with it. Let's play around with it, but getting it to do interesting things is, at least to me, more interesting than, like, it doesn't have access to my API keys. There's no way it's going to give that as a result, and I have no actions by which it would be able to access them. We could, in fact, give it access to, like, an SSH terminal or something like that. So that's pretty interesting. Just turn off the heater. Yep, API keys are sacred and should be handled with care. Not shown on a live stream. So... We can also see what Kritomos has been doing in this devlog channel, where, you know, they've actually been using it for playing video games, but I envision using this for software engineering, where as you are writing code, you can kind of just take notes in a chat like this, and then when you're done, or whenever you want, you see there's like 99 replies in this. If you have local AI in this room, you can just get it to summarize. GitHub is the best repository for API keys. Yep, especially that commit history. He cannot provide you with a baddie. That's a shame. I want to tell it to like have personality and be entertaining because, you know, this agent at least, I want it to be aware of my discourse threads. I want it to be aware of my Git repositories, but it kind of lives in the matrix chat and should be, you know, should add to that rather than take away from it. So, you know, maybe I don't mind it posting on its own, but I don't want it to be so sycophantic. The fact that it's actually making us laugh by, you know, friend zoning you and then saying it can't hook you up with a baddie, that's funny. Like, I want that in my chat room. I wonder if I add an action of Wikipedia. Oh, okay. Is this the play? Yeah, this is just a playground. Save that. See what it does in the next one. We need to ask it something else. Tell me about what? Yeah, there you go. Let's solid heron. You do it. It's funnier when you do it. How to make thermite. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. These are not Ollama. This is LocalAI. But Ollama and LocalAI are just, you know, front ends for these models from Hugging Face, and the underlying models are the same. A good way of salting out alcohol, something we've been looking at. And, you know, actually, okay, Solid Heron, I've been saying that you should post about that on the discourse thread, and if you had, then this AI model would be aware of your projects on salting out the alcohol. So it's not aware of the previous history of our matrix rooms, but it would be aware of it if you had posted it on discourse. So that's kind of cool, but... let's look here. Agent, status. Let's see. Recall. This might have caused a problem, adding that Wikipedia bit. We'll have to see. Interesting. What in the world? So it did not find anything in the knowledge base, so that is that searching of the vector database. And then it tried to do the Wikipedia tool call, I don't know why I queried what is the meaning of life, though. Maybe I have to, like, you know, tell it what the query is? I don't know. I have no idea what this thing is doing now. Boy, it's really going on a tangent here. It's like searching for things in Wikipedia and then searching the knowledge base and then searching Wikipedia. Now what? Advertised as a homebrewer's kit. Potassium bicarbonate is just now coming in. Boy, it's kind of stuck on this decision-making process. We'll call Wikipedia, what is a chatbot? Why is it doing this? Very bizarre. So this seems to be it just kind of hallucinating. Like, I don't know why it's making the same decision again and again. It's time to, like, give an output. Okay, I would like it to stop doing this. Seems like it's in an infinite loop. I don't know that I can cancel the job, though. Maybe I can from the API. But anyway, that's what working on this is like. Oh, it looks like it's starting a new one for you. Yeah, it doesn't seem like actually. Oh, well, we do have some of the homemade ethanol stuff in here. Boy, this one needs to stop. But anyway, I think we get kind of the picture here. chatbot in the Matrix channel that has access to the discourse forum using these agentic workflows and retrieval augmented generation. Is it still going? It's still going. I need to kill this job somehow, but we'll figure it out. Did you get a response? You did at least get a response. Yeah, sometimes it actually just kind of says what you have in memory, which I don't want it to do. So, you know, kind of 50-50 on the results, but it's definitely powerful. It's definitely interesting. And yeah, cool stuff. No, you did not. No, none of you broke it. As long as you guys were trying things out and doing stuff, that was all fine. It's when I added this Wikipedia action, it created this kind of infinite loop where it just started hallucinating to itself about all these different things that it needed to like look up in Wikipedia. At this point, it's currently looking up what? Yeah, it just keeps going in this loop. I don't know how to kill that job though. I'll figure it out. Well, I'll figure it out later, is what I'll do. Cool. So, all of you who joined in chat, Solid Heron, Eno others, thank you very much for joining. I hope this was interesting. I'm going to continue working on this AI chatbot and trying to make it usable and actually intelligent about what's going on here on the platform. We'll see how successful I get with that, but anyway, yeah, thanks both for trying it out, and feel free to continue doing so as I work on it. If you have any ideas for how I could make this better or anything like that, feel free to suggest it. And yeah, this video is going to live on Discourse in the LocalAI thread with the others, so cool. And if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. So I think that's all. Thank you all for joining. Toodaloo.